All right, friends, it's T-Man. I'm back with a new video on Revival Fitness himself, the Natty Limit. So this dude says Natty Limit. He's going to talk about it. I don't know. He's planning on doing I think maybe this is his last bodybuilding show. He's done one before. This is his second one or something. All right, let's hear what he has to say. Let's review this video. Revival Fitness. Let's get real about the Natty Limit. Fiction, fact or fiction? Well, I don't know, man. Let's see what this lifting slave has to say, this gym slave has to say.
Chest up, shoulders back. This is Revival Fitness, your home for gains and brains. And I am just about 3 weeks out filming this. The energy's getting to me at this point. I mean, it has been for a bit now, but I'm kind of just in a general daze. I stepped on the scale this morning and I am officially under 160 pounds, kids.
Yes, I saw your pictures in your community section. 6 feet tall at 160 pounds. Alpha Destiny is 5'4" at 160 pounds. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's getting real out here. We're going to talk now about...
This is great. So this is what bodybuilding's about. It's about getting as skinny as you can, just to reveal what you have underneath, but it's not about size or anything like that. Okay. Wow, this is really interesting. What do you think this guy looks like at 6 feet tall at 160 pounds? Hello? Man, this is just ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
A topic that is extremely contested, very controversial. People get very, very emotionally tied to it. I guess you could say that about a lot of things at this point. But this is the natural limit.
This is the natural limit? What?
And it is one of the cornerstones of marketing in the fitness industry. You hear all the time some variation of the Natty limit doesn't exist. It's all a myth.
There's a myonuclear domain size limit, not a Natty limit, you asshole. What are you talking about? You know, for a smart guy, this guy's really fucking dumb, eh? Look, I don't know about this fucking Natty limit bullshit, but whatever. There's a myonuclear domain limit. Yeah, you can read it here. It tells you MND size has a ceiling limit during hypertrophic process, beyond which extra myonuclei are donated by satellite cell to support further muscle growth. So what do you need to do to support further muscle growth? Well, you need the satellite cell to donate more nuclei. Get it? What the fuck? Okay, how do you get him to donate more nuclei so you could support further muscle growth? Does he tell you? Does any of these assholes even know?
If it's all in your mind, people will go on to say things like, oh, you can make the best gains of your life in the 10th year of natural training. No, you can't.
You can. You can make sarcoplasmic gains, not maybe myofibrillar. You can't make both. You can make myofibrillar sarcoplasmic, but the majority of you people are making sarcoplasmic gains because you fear pain. You fear pain and, oh man, I feel pain. I've lost force capacities. I can't move the rest of the week. Oh, it's hard to move my body and everything. Well, that's an adaptation process. An adaptation can get you over MND size limit. But how do you get an adaptation? Well, it can't happen in an adapted state. Hello. Listen to the word adapted, adaptation. If you're looking for adaptations, you can't be adapted, dumbass. You have to be unaccustomed, untrained, or unfamiliar doing things that you're unfamiliar with. Hello, duh.
And you hear other people on the more black-pilled side, which is me allegedly, tell you like, oh, well, you can't make good gains naturally. It's impossible. You might as well just jump on.
Yeah, you can make these unnatural gains eating carbohydrates, and you can fill up the sarcoplasm with sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. That's why they call it in science, they call it hypertrophy, sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Something's getting bigger. It didn't say that it had to be real muscle. It's artificial muscle growth. Now, your muscles can also get bigger through myofibrillar growth. See that? But that mass is what's going to really show up. And what is that mass made out of? Well, that thing is made out of the cell is made out of this jelly substance called cytoplasm. Now, it has an MND size limit because if it were to get any more bigger than what it was, it would weaken you. You'd be weak, like a little puppy. Get it? But that could only happen through mutation. Again, mutations would cause that to go extraordinarily get big. It's overseen by myostatin, follistatin, and the satellite cell. That's how it's overseen. And so the satellite cell would have to donate more nuclei to support what? Further muscle growth. Get it? So that cell would mass up to its natural size, and then it wouldn't get any bigger. But you can increase the sarcoplasm within the muscle fibers around and fill it all up and get these, artificial muscle growth, with volume. Yeah. And that's like that happens in adapted states. People get, fatigue, they get, high volume, they just keep lifting, adapted, and they get this fake shit because they're eating a fake artificial diet. You eat artificial diet called carbohydrates because you're a carnivore, and then you fill up your muscles with artificial growth called sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. It's glycogen loading. For every gram of glycogen, 3 grams of water drawn between the skin and muscle and the muscle. But here's the problem. If you're trying to lean down, now you grew these artificial muscles, they're all going to go away because you're trying to burn you're trying to get to the triglyceride of the body fat to try to burn it as energy. Well, the first thing that goes in your muscles is what is energy? The glycogen that is stored there. These are storage units. I think people are so stupid. Glycogen stores in the muscle, triglyceride stores in the fat. Now, fat does not have an MND size limit. Fat cells, they can grow exponentially massive. But muscle fibers, muscle cells are post-mitotic. They do not split and divide and increase in number. Get it? Duh. So you waving your arms in an adapted state cannot cause myonuclei to split, divide, and increase in number. And then they fill up with cytoplasm, the sarcoplasmic fluid in the muscle cells. Get it? You can't get more muscle cells and then fill them up with fucking cytoplasm. Duh. You understand me? By just waving your fucking arms in the air. You need to literally fucking damage muscle fibers. Yeah, you have to go through the pain. You have to go through that pain and that cycle to damage muscle fibers in an unaccustomed state, all right, or unfamiliar. And then they have to go through a repair and a remodeling. And then protein synthesis needs to exceed this breakdown because you are in an apoptotic state. The muscles right now are necrotic. They're in a necrosis state. Get it? They're fucking breaking down now, and now protein synthesis needs to exceed that breakdown. You need to be in an anabolic growth state, eating, so that you can convert the catabolic hormone to an androgen, so it doesn't fucking compete with the myocytic androgen receptor. You dumbass.
A day natty is a day wasted. There's extremes to this. So let's provide a balanced, rational perspective as we like to do here. Now, let's start off with the first thing, and I'm going to have to break some of your hearts, even though I'm correct. There is no way to prove that any given person is natural. All right?
There is. It's a blood test. You could prove with a blood test. Now, looking at people, can you tell? Let's say a person did a little bit of steroids, and then they just blew up a little bit. Well, you may not be able to tell. What if a guy takes creatine and he blows up 5 pounds or something? How do you know? How do you know he didn't do it? He didn't do it naturally. Well, it is natural, isn't it? It's creatine. It's an amino acid. Oh, because it was made in a laboratory, and it's condensed. It's like in high form. Okay, that's why. Yeah. See what I mean? Yeah. Can you build artificial muscles as a natty? Eating food, yes. Carbohydrates. What type? Starch, potatoes. Eat as much as you can. Eat fucking 1,000 fucking grams. I don't know, a day, and I guarantee you, you're going to build those phony muscles bigger than the last time, sarcoplasmic hypertrophy muscles. See that? Will they make you lean because you're working out and loading that? I don't know, not necessarily, not really. You'll be kind of washed out a bit. But here's the problem. When you want to get lean naturally without a drug, you're going to have to do it the natural way. Guess what's going to happen? Those energy stores that are stored up in your muscles, like this glycogen shit, it's going to burn out. Get it? Because that's the first energy to go. It needs to carry you through a famine in the natural world, buddy.
See this in comment sections all the time. It doesn't matter who it's referring to. Guys are always talking about, well, we know that X guy or girl is natural. We know. They say it as if it's a matter of fact, like it's settled, like it's been proven in a lab, uncontested. Oh yes, we know that this person's natural. No, you don't. Okay, guys, I don't care how many polygraph tests.
Why is this guy so obsessed about natural? Who's natural, not natural ever? He's competing in an unnatural kind of sport. It's all unnatural. Everything that he's doing is unnatural. Man, people don't understand. If you're lifting a heavy weight or doing all these weird things, these are unnatural events, anyways. They're all unnatural. Get it? They're not natural.
What he takes, how many natural competitions they do, how many drug tests they beat. These models of so-called proving some.
Yeah, okay, so somebody took a drug, and it causes a particular effect, okay? Yeah, it's this fucking, what do you call it? Plant DNA. You inject this plant DNA in you, and it does something extraordinary to your body. It causes it to do something. Let me ask you this question. If you're on a vegan diet, right? An unnatural diet, like you as a carnivore, you eat an unnatural diet, a vegan diet. What would happen to you? Your hair would fall out, right? Your hair would start falling out. This is an unnatural scene, right? Hair, nails falling out, pee falling out, getting weak, low energy, palpitations in the heart, and a whole bunch of stuff, man. Maybe even metabolic diseases. I don't know what else, okay? So it's unnatural. It's an unnatural thing that you're creating there. Okay, so what happens when you go on your natural carnivore diet, like everybody out there? They go back to what? A thing called homeostasis. Because you're always out of what? Homeostasis. And anytime you're out of homeostasis, whether it's lifting a goddamn heavy weight or eating a goddamn artificial diet or this dieting or whatever the hell the fuck you're doing there, it's unnatural, bro. Get it? And so your body wants to return to what? Homeostasis. That's why when you lift weights and you're adapted and you get these androgen receptors and you create this artificial fucking thing. Remember, myocytic androgen receptor controls the strength but not the mass of the limb muscles. PubMed, you can check it, okay? So when you create this artificial strength through this forced production, your body wants to go back to what? Homeostasis, because it's artificial strength. It's fake. It's just for moving objects. Get it? And even this artificial muscle. Now, but what happens when you grow actually real myofibrillar growth? The majority, yes, will stick around unless you starve them, but it'll stick around. They'll stick around. See what I mean? They won't just go away. Yeah, man. Now, that artificial mass that you grew, sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, it'll go away. It's fake. Get it? It's artificial. Your body goes back to homeostasis. It always wants to return to homeostasis. So everything you're doing here is artificial, is fake. So what the fuck is he talking about?
One's natural. They do not do that. I mean, even in the context of a drug test, if you pass a drug test, that just means you were perceived as natural for that set time when you took the test. Okay, you can take a bunch of stuff and then come off within a given time frame, and you can take certain things that have very short half-lives and detection times. You come off, you take your test.
Yeah, they take masking agents or they take stuff that won't be detected or whatever. Or they came off, like he says, they came off. I don't know. They took tablets, right? Tablets don't circulate long enough in your system. But injections, they can last a whole year. They can be in there a whole year in your blood. They'll show up on markers. They will show up on markers, but they're going to mask it somehow. Their urine, they're going to put something in there or drink something like vinegar or some shit.
Oh, he's all natural. Yay. And then you just return to your regularly scheduled use. I mean, I've covered this in detail.
He was unnatural. Yay. You're unnatural too. Everything you're doing is unnatural, you idiot. Driving that car is unnatural. It's not natural because it's man-made. It's not from nature. It's not made of nature.
Before. And no, he doesn't have acne. I don't see gyno. I don't see him going bald. And it's like, guys, do you think every user is guaranteed the...
Yeah, just because they took a tiny bit here and there, right? They wanted to blow up because they were lazy. They don't know what actually builds muscles. They don't know the difference between myofibrillar, sarcoplasmic, so they're dumb. And they just say, well, people took a drug. And look what happened when they took this drug. So they take the drug because they're dumb. They don't know anything about bodybuilding. They never investigate it.
Side effects. You know, it's funny, man, people just talk so much nonsense, like they're convinced that they know shit, but they don't. And even so, there are measures to counteract those side effects if you do get them. So if I can find you 5 giant bodybuilders with full heads of hair and no gyno, I'm like, oh, he must be natural, right? You see what I mean? Like, the whole thing is just ridiculous. You would have to follow somebody around, I mean, essentially be conjoined at the hip with them for a long time to ever really know that for sure. And as I've told you guys before too, a lot of people that take PEDs don't even look like they take PEDs. The no commercial gym schmuck, it's like, oh, this guy's natural.
What do you mean? A guy that took a tiny bit and he gained a little bit of gains because he took a tiny bit so you can't tell the difference? Boy, man, this guy really is crazy.
Like, he might not be, man. You don't know. Okay, so that is one of the first things you have to accept about this topic, and this is more a matter of
He
maturity.
may not be. Why are you worried about what other people are doing? Like, this is crazy. Do what's best for you. Listen, I'm not worried about people smoking marijuana and lining up in lines, trying to smoke drugs all day. Get it? I don't go up to them and say, "Hey, man, are you natty? Are you is that dizziness, that stone look that you're doing, that stoneness in the street? Is it based on fake? Is it fake? Are you really smoking marijuana, or are you just creating it normally? Like, how are you doing this? How are you being drunk? Are you drinking alcohol, or are you just pretending to be drunk? What the fuck, dude?"
Than anything else. There are no guarantees here. So with that out of the way, now it's time to talk about genetics. And this is one of the biggest buzzwords in these
Here we go, genetics again. Man, this guy has got to be the dumbest guy I've ever seen on the internet. He's so dumb.
conversations as well. It's always going to be, oh no, man, he just has elite genetics. You guys know the bell curve graph I like to put up. Every fitness influencer somehow.
Again, for a guy that's the guy that comes off intelligent, he is so fucking dumb, man. He doesn't know anything about bodybuilding.
Mathematically improbable. Every fitness
He's so skinny, and all he knows how to do is get lean. He doesn't know how to build muscle. He doesn't know what builds muscle. Fuck.
influencer has top 5% genetics, even though a lot of them were just skinny fat gamer.
Top 5% genetics. If I go eat fucking 1,000 grams of fucking starch, right, and my muscles blow up, and I gain like, in a couple of weeks, I gain like, I don't know, 30-something pounds. What does that mean? I got elite genetics because I was able to load a lot of glycogen in my muscles? What the fuck? What?
Before they started training, they had no signs of any real good genetics at all, and then one day they just magically turned on somehow. That's how it goes in the fitness industry. Just, oh,
What the fuck is he talking about? Is he fucking that dumb?
wow, look at that. He just changed this or did this one exercise or something happened and all.
Man, you know fucking, what's his name? Larry Wheels. Remember when he came back a couple of months ago? He came back from bodybuilding and he went to eat the Golden Griddle. He gained 53 pounds in, what was it, in 5 days? You think that was muscle? Because he's kept it. He kept that 53 pounds. You think he gained 53 pounds in myofibular growth and real muscle growth, man? Huh? 53 pounds, dude. You think he gained that, the Golden Griddle, eating for 5 days? How about that guy now that Greg Doucette just did the video on? Remember that guy that says he ate 800 grams of carbohydrates and he gained 35 pounds in like 6, 7, or 8 weeks or something? Yeah. He just looks blown up. Does that mean he's got good genetics? He said he did that one without steroids. He was doing an experiment without drugs. And he got that big. So, can you do the same thing? Can you experiment and find out? Yeah, you can find out. You don't have to babble like a fucking asshole. Go find out whether this will cause elite genetics. Eating 800 grams, if your body will grow that much. 35 pounds of muscle in that many amount of weeks, okay? Go and find out for yourself, fucking.
All of a sudden, his elite genetics just...
See, I experimented with these things, so I know. That's why I can speak from experience. I fucking understand how it works. That's why I know where to look for the answers, fucker. That's why I fucking know everything in bodybuilding. You gotta be a fucking master at it to find out, to figure out, not waste your time, be a fucking slave, lifting gym fucking motherfucking slave. And then yakking on the fucking, in the car to people, brainwashing them about fucking genetic limits and shit. You don't even use proper terminology. It's called MND size limit, you asshole.
turned on like a light switch. It's like, okay, sure. But genetic variance is significant regardless. If you're talking natural or enhanced, I am a genetic
No, there are two hypertrophies, myofibular, sarcoplasmic. And how you go about doing them has nothing to do with genetics. Absolutely zero genetics, bro. Get it?
determinist, guys, and really...
I'm not talking about you becoming taller or big or something, like you're growing up. I can't control that. We can't control that. Or your facial features or what you're going to look like genetically. But we can control myofibular, sarcoplasmic.
Anybody who is not that in broad scope is being disingenuous with you, okay? So what one guy can achieve naturally, another guy will require PEDs. What one guy on a small dose of PEDs can do, another guy would need a much larger dose. What one person within even the same family, like siblings, what one brother could do, his own brother, even if they did the exact same training, split, diet, recovery, all that, one brother is going to have better development here, maybe be stronger here. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, some people genetically are going to look taller and look more sexier and better than you are. And so what? What does that have to do with building more myofibrillars or sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, this artificial muscle growth, or real muscles, myofibrillar? What does that have to do with that, dude?
Genetic variances are significant, and especially whenever you get into the topic of hypertrophy and aesthetics, a lot of this comes down to muscle insertions and bone structure, because the crux of this conversation...
No, it doesn't. It has nothing to do with insertions or bone structure. It has to do with, are you damaging these muscle fibers? Do you know how to bring back that damage and the repeated bout effect and a whole bunch of stuff? Do you know how to get over that? It's an adaptation process. Do you know how to get over that? Do you know why muscles repair and remodel bigger and stronger after you do get an adaptation? So that it's protected from further assaults. Okay, but why can't you get damaged with a repeated bout? Because it's protection, bro. You might get rabbed, don't fucking die. And it's uncomfortable to constantly get damaged. It would be ridiculous to do that.
Is always revolving around, oh, well, we want examples of naturally attainable physiques. Understand something. If one guy attains something natural...
Yes, they're naturally obtainable. If you were to come in an unaccustomed state or do unfamiliar forms or be untrained, you'll get this damage, and then your body will go through a repairing and remodeling. But you got to allow it to go through a repairing and remodeling. That would take about a week period, providing you're eating in an anabolic growth state where protein synthesis exceeds its breakdown. That will convert the catabolic hormone to an androgen, so it doesn't compete with the myocytic androgen receptor, putting you in an anabolic growth state. Get it? Yeah, man. And then you'll build myofibrillar growth. That is a lot harder. Now, if you just want to pump in the gym and lift every day, think you're a lifting slave, all that gym slave, dude, and go eat your carbohydrates and then build these carbohydrate muscles, well, then don't complain that they're fading and going away. Get it? You're so skinny and small and weak and all that shit.
Naturally, that is still not a guarantee that you are going to be able to do the same thing. And on top of that, too, even if you can obtain a very similar physique to your idol or idols, if they got there in, say, 5 years, it may...
No, what is he going to say? It's going to take you what?
Take you double that amount of time.
So if they took them 5 years, it'll take you double amount of time. I'm going to tell you, I went from, I can't remember. I had to lower my body weight because I carried too much sarcoplasmic, and I had to start in the beginning. I went down to a certain weight, like around 200 something pounds. And then I went within a 6-month period or something, damaging, repairing, and remodeling my muscles. I went from I can't remember what it was exactly. It wasn't even an entire year. It didn't take me an entire year, okay? Less than even an entire year, less than that even, around 8 months or something. And I went from 200 to 285 pounds of muscle, okay? I went to 285 pounds. Now, of course, not all of it's all myofibrillar, damaging, repairing, and remodeling every week coming in, and then eating nonstop. But you have to have the time to do that. And I remember, I think my unemployment insurance, at that time I was unemployed, I had unemployment insurance. And I had a lot of money too at the time. I had a lot of money. They even gave me unemployment insurance because I wasn't working that time. So I had a shitload of money and time on my hands. And so I think it was they give it to you for 6 months or something, right? Unemployment insurance. So yeah, you could build your body with that because I wasn't working. It was not that I was already transitioning. I was transitioning because I was actually working for myself and working for somebody at the same time. And I had a lot of money. And I was in my late 90s, my late 20s. And yeah, I just took that time out. I remember I took that time out to build my body. Okay. And that's about it. Yeah. And after that, I moved away. After a certain period of time, I didn't lift for quite a while, and then I moved away. So yeah. I could have kept going maybe to 300. Who knows? Maybe 300, whatever. So you can build your body naturally, really big and strong.
If you're very genetically disadvantaged, you simply may never get there. Even something like the abs.
That's absolutely not true. He's making this shit up. It's all made up.
Right? Guys say, how do I get that shredded six-pack?
Because he's a failure at it. So you must be a failure too with me because I failed, because he failed. And he keeps complaining about stuff, but he doesn't want to do anything about it.
Well, I mean, you could get very lean at some point, bro, even with well-developed abs. Some guys are only ever going to get 4-packs based on genetics, once again. So I have an old video called Aesthetics and
4-packs? Well, yeah, if you only have a 4-pack, what do you expect? Arnold, I think, only had a 4-pack. So what's that? Genetic, okay. Why, are you looking for a 9-pack?
genetics, a deep dive, if you guys want to go into this body part by body part on more granular detail. But that's how this goes, man. And you can also extrapolate this to strength. Somebody online you see might be benching 315, weighing 150, 160 pounds.
Okay, yeah, for 1 rep. They're not repping it because I've seen somebody do that. I think it's Oof Powerlifter.
Extremely impressive. And guys will say, oh, bro, what's your training style? How do you program the bench press? I want to do that. And it's like, look, man, for the overwhelming majority of you, you're never going to bench that much weight with that body weight on your frame. A lot of guys, you're never...
Why? Oof Powerlifter could do it, but that's all he practices at doing, nothing else. And he can only do it for a rep or two, maybe, if he's lucky, too.
We're going to bench up 225 pounds cleanly at 160, 150 pounds body weight. So not only do you have no way of 100% guaranteeing somebody's natural status, you also cannot equate across the board for genetics. And some guys might have good genetics in one muscle group and very mid genetics in another. But that brings us into now the length of time you've been...
What genetics? He can't bench it. He had to practice to get there. It's artificial, dude. Get it? What is this guy talking about, mumbling about? No, none of these people could lift those weights. They had to practice at lifting them. The most they could probably bench was, I don't know, maybe 50 pounds.
Training, and more importantly, how long you've been doing things so-called right. And that in itself is controversial because you may hear that 2 times a week frequency for a muscle group is the best way to do it. And then another study says, hey, well, actually 1 time a week.
First, he complains about people lifting a certain weight. They have to be... He doesn't talk about practice. Now he's talking about them practicing at doing stuff. What the fuck? He's all over the place.
Is just as good. There's no need to do any more if you don't want to. In terms of doing things right, there are general principles, but that can even get ripped apart the deeper into it that you go. Roughly speaking, we're talking about the fundamentals, as in you have solid form, which even then again, right, that can be contested too. You see what I mean? Like, there's just so many rabbit holes we can go down. But you have solid form, you are lifting weight you can control, you have a good range of motion, you're not short stroking everything, you're getting sufficient protein, sufficient dietary fats for your hormones, you're sleeping properly. I don't even think you have to get 8 hours plus of sleep a night to really do great. I mean, for a lot of people, that's simply off the table. But let's just use the 8 hours as an example, right? Those are kind of the foundational things. And then once you have those basic things down, you can make modifications as needed to the training and the eating and other recovery factors. You can implement things like massages, saunas, cold tubs, there's other stuff, supplementation.
What about all these things? They're all artificial, okay. You're going to add all these artificial things in, okay. Great.
Comes into this too. And even then, those things, they are at the very, very, very itty-bitty top of the pyramid in terms of what's really going to deliver the results. You don't need to do any of those things, even if they seem to be helpful for you. But assuming the basics are taken care of, 1, you need to train for a long time to really see your genetic potential come to fruition.
No, you don't. You need to train unaccustomedly, and not train it for a very long time. But whatever. No, you don't have to train for a very long time. You have to put in the work to build myofibrillar growth. You need to be in an anabolic growth state, so you need money. You need money to build a body. You need to eat a lot of food, and you need to repeatedly damaging these muscle fibers so that they can go through a repair and a remodeling. And the exercises have to be, you have to do very specific things. I can't tell you exactly in this video all of it. There's a way to keep bringing it back every week, or you could just shoot for, I don't know, new adaptations. Just do some new exercises you've never done before.
And here's the next biggest thing too. You are never going to know your true genetic potential until you bulk. And it doesn't have to be right now.
Wow, you're never going to know your true potential until you bulk, until you get fat. Get it? You got to get fat. You got to eat a lot to get fat. I just told you, fucking muscle cells have an MND size limit. They're post-mitotic. They don't split and divide, you asshole. and they have an MND size limit. Muscle cells, they don't get big from bulking. They reached an MND size limit during hypertrophic process. You understand me? Yeah. So what do you need to do? You need to get more myonuclei, get it, to support what? Further muscle growth, you fucking dumbass. That has nothing to do with bulking, you fucking freak.
Okay, if you're very overweight or obese, you should cut first to get down to a more reasonable body fat, okay? But over the long term, if you're never doing...
What the fuck is he talking about? Gotta reduce body fat, do that. You gotta do this, that, bah. He's all over the place, this guy.
A prolonged surplus, eating a lot of food, giving your body a conducive environment to really add muscle.
Yes, eat a lot of food, a lot of protein. And science tells you protein synthesis needs to exceed this breakdown. Look it up, man. It's an NCBI, fucking. Science tells you everything how muscles build. Look, eccentric exercises are what? They're associated with muscle damage. You understand me? They add sarcomere numbers and muscle fibers through what? Unaccustomed exercises. Christ, man, this guy's so stupid. This is just some stuff I have posted here. I can't post everything for everybody, okay? I can't educate everybody. Look, this section here, just this small section, the mode of myofibrillar remodeling in human skeletal muscles affected by what? DOMS. Get it, bro? Induced by what? Eccentric contractions. Eccentric contractions and induced by what? DOMS. Induced by what? Eccentric contractions. So if you do eccentric contractions, you get DOMS. Get it? There's a loss of a whole bunch of stuff here. Contractile, ... Hallmarks of eccentric contractions induced injury. There's like contractions, force production goes down, and you get DOMS. See that? DOMS. Get it? So what is this? It tells you the findings, therefore, here at the bottom. The findings, therefore, support our previous suggestions that muscle fibers subjected to what? Eccentric contractions adapt to what? They adapt to unaccustomed activity by what? By the addition of what? New sarcomeres, you dumbass. Fuck, they have all kinds of stuff here. Evidence myofibrillar remodeling as opposed to myofibrillar damage in human muscles, DOMS, and ultrastructural and what? Scopy. They talk about other stuff here. There's all kinds of shit here, man. It goes to DOMS, this, that. Fucking. That's just one. There's just so much out there. Get it? And even this, if you read this section here, if you go into this, where am I now? If you go into this section here, shit, I think I lost it. Dystrophy? Just a second. Ah, man. Let's go to definition of skeletal muscle, okay? So what is it? In contrast, here we go. This section right here is very important, okay? You can read this. In this, I'll bring it to the top so you can find out what this is. Hypertrophy is defined as an increase in the ratio of cytoplasm to nucleus, whereas hyperplasia is defined as nuclear division. See? Nuclear division. So what do you need to do? You need to damage muscle fibers so they can do what? Nuclear division, because muscles are postmitotic. It's based on nuclear division. Sorry, this thing just fucking shut off. I don't know. All right. So nuclear division and an increase in the number of what? Of cells. The increase in number of cells. Now more cells can do what? They can size up. Get it? They hypertrophy. In contrast, hypertrophy of skeletal muscle is thought to involve an increase in the number of nuclei. It does. You need more nuclei to support further muscle growth, like it said there. Remember? As well as an increase in cytoplasmic volume. Hypertrophy of skeletal muscle therefore incorporates the part of what? Definition of what? Hyperplasia. An increase in the number of nuclei. Get it? Yeah. It's complicated. The addition of nuclei may come from internal nuclear division or fused satellite cells and their donated nuclei. Thus, evidence of DNA synthesis. Hallmark of what? It's a hallmark of hyperplasia. In other tissues is not always illuminating in skeletal muscle, and the increase in muscle fiber size is greater than the volume contributed by fusing myonucleated cells. In addition, myoblasts can fuse with each other to form new muscle fibers. See that? So therefore, the suggestion definition of hyperplasia, hypertrophy, and skeletal muscle should pertain to features over which there is no confusion The number of muscle fibers, according to the definition of hypertrophy of skeletal muscle, is an increase in the size of fibers without an increase in their number in respective of any increase in the number of nuclei per fiber. Consistent with this addition, It's a long thing here. You have to read it. It's complicated. Okay, they talk about more myofibrils, myofibers, increase in myofiber numbers, elongating, getting longer, getting bigger, getting more of them, a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, it comes in this section: different modes of hypertrophy and skeletal muscle fibers. And there's more stuff out there and more stuff out there. Get it, dude? It's in my community section. You can read it. It's so much stuff out there. Even this section here, I don't even know what this one was. Did I read this? Yeah, I'm in the size limit. So there you go. I don't want to waste more time on this. Where did that video go? Sorry.
Mi primo iniciará una empresa de ecoturismo en
You have no idea what your genetic limit is. And I've talked to a lot of guys and seen this in comments too. A lot of guys thought that they had bad genetics because they'd never done a serious bulk. Because they get scared.
You mean they never did sarcoplasmic hypertrophy? It's not based on bulk. It's not based on bulk. You asshole. It's not based on simple carbohydrates. The best is starch. Starch.
By the hustlers in the fitness industry that give you ab anxiety and they say, oh, bulking only makes you fat. It doesn't work. Well, you know, I've talked about this.
Well, it will make you fat. It can make you fat if you're not doing specific things. Yes. You understand me?
So many times. It's always the same nonsense these guys are spewing. But they'll never do a serious bulk. And of course, you're not going to know what your actual genetic potential could be because you've never given your body.
If you're eating pasta, bread, and all this stuff, it's going to convert to sugar. That's not gonna create muscles. Protein creates muscles, but they only create it through damage. But it's not going to create that. It's starch that will convert and load into the muscles. That's what you want. You don't want to be insulin resistant. The bulk diet, eating these carbohydrates that, like eating simple carbs, sugars, whatever, and they converting and whatever, they're going to make you insulin resistant. Okay, they don't work. That's why you want to eat complex carbohydrate. A little bit of protein, but a lot of complex carbohydrate to create these phony sarcoplasmic muscles. Get it, bro? Dude, for show and tell.
Body the time, let alone the actual resources to do that. If you're a younger guy and you've
It doesn't spike insulin either, and so yeah, it makes you anabolic.
only been in the gym for a handful of months,
It's very slow going, slow acting.
even a year or two, I mean, bro, you'll be seeing results if you're doing things well, but you still have a long way to go.
Well, you'll see results if you're doing things smart, but if you do it stupid like this guy, then you're gonna see jack shit.
I mean, even if you get to the point, guys, where I talk about the 2, 3, 4 plate standard, 2 plate aside bench press, 3 plate aside back squat, 4 plate aside deadlift as general proxies for being intermediate.
What about all that lifting? If you're not unaccustomed or unfamiliar or untrained, the muscles are not going to damage. They'll just be adapted now through androgen receptor strength, get its force production. Again, your body has to be carried through a famine to survive, dude. It's unnatural what you're doing here.
I know that angers the hypertrophy cell. I don't do those lifts, bro. I train for hypertrophy. Doesn't matter, buddy. If you had effective training.
What? You train for hypertrophy? See, they train for hypertrophy. So they train for sarcoplasmic hypertrophy? Well, if you're training for myofibular, that's based on damage, right? Unaccustomed, we know that unaccustomed because science tells you what builds myofibular, what damages, what gets you an adaptation, what gets to you. Science tells you unfamiliar forms, unaccustomed, and untrained muscles get this damage, okay? And then it goes through repairing and remodeling. Yeah. And then it tells you what builds this muscle. Protein synthesis needs to exceed that breakdown. Get it? That's what builds it. Needs to exceed that breakdown. Yeah. Now, if you're just a lifting slave, a gym slave coming in there, just lifting, moving, lifting, coming in regularly, not focused on damage, unaccustomed. If you're accustomed, you're going to get sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. You may not know it, but you're eating these artificial diets called carbohydrates. They're going to fill up in there, dumbass.
You're going to be pretty strong at those lifts comparatively. Just get the form down.
No, you're going to be pretty good at those lifts, or you could call it strong. Yeah, you'll be very strong at those lifts, but you physically will not have ever gotten stronger because you never built any natural strength, myofibular strength. So that force production that you're getting strong at, increasing the force, that force can go away, just like the Jedis. The force comes and they go. Get it? May the force be with you, and then when it's not, it's gone.
On for a session or two. It's not that hard. Okay, effective training is effective training. We're not talking about benching 350 or deadlifting 600 pounds. You
Yeah, effective bullshit training is effective, yeah.
don't have to be a strength specialist to hit some basic standards like that, guys. A natural physique for most guys, unless you have very blessed, shoulder genetics, abs, things like.
I don't have any of those things, and I built my physique. I built it using real science. I didn't use it in bulk diets and screaming and yelling and pretending and talking about genetic limits or anything like that. They don't exist, bro. Get it?
That, like the mirror muscles that a lot of guys are going to see. A lot of the time, man, even if you get to the so-called intermediate phase, you're not going to look remarkable. But this is why you see all of these teenagers and early 20s guys on Instagram with natural in their bio. It's not possible to get the level of gains they've achieved. It's not possible, really, to have a physique that people are interested in seeing and what they've come to expect in only a few years. All right.
Man, are people really this dumb out here? They believe everything this guy says, probably. That's why see, I told you, dumb channels are really popular. Smart channels are not popular. The ones that really tell you, my channel really tells you how it really works. There's nobody out there like my channel that actually produced the real science to tell you that science tells you exactly how muscle is built. And I mean exactly, to a T, dude. But there's no channel like mine out there. But there are a lot of asshole channels out there. You can follow them, and they'll get you nowhere fast.
Now, I know it's going to be every time, oh, bro, you don't understand, bro. He's been lifting since he was 9, bro. He's been lifting since he was in 6th grade. He's been lifting since he was in the womb, bro.
Well, that helps if they started when they were really young. I mean, your body, it comes with a certain amount of muscle fibers, and then it ends at 15. There's just no more. It won't give you any more muscle fibers after 15.
I know, dude. Every one of these guys allegedly was on a strict diet and training regimen whenever they were a child. If you saw that recent short I put up, it is a guy's 10-month progress naturally.
When did your body reach an MND size limit, really? Well, it truly reached it when you were 15. Okay, so when's the next one? Well, when you get an adaptation. And again, it reaches an MND size limit during hypertrophic process. Get it? You understand me? The progenitor is beyond where it can donate any extra nuclei to support what? Support further muscle growth. You want to support further muscle growth, you're going to have to get these nuclei. Get it? And it isn't based on, I'm going to swing my arms for 30 days. Nuclei, bullshit, fake training.
He looks very good for 10 months. A lot of guys have commented that he looks better than you did after 10 months. I mean, some guys have even said that he looks better than they do, and they've been in the gym for years, which that could be an issue with your own training and eating and all this stuff as well. But the point is, all these comments were flaming him. All these clueless teenagers that follow all these so-called natural dudes, right? 10 months of training to mild discomfort, huh? 10 months of not even trying, bro. And it's like, dude, he's obviously made some gains. But that's one of the main issues, because the guys that have been lifting for the same amount of time as the Natty so-called influencers say they've both been training for 3 years. And the guy scrolling through Instagram on the toilet looks nothing like the dude that he's watching. And are you Natty, bro? Some of these guys even ask them in the comments. And of course the guy says, yeah, bro, I'm all Natty. Fire emoji, fire emoji. It's like, oh my God, bro, I knew it. These people are so stupid, man. But then you're going to compare yourself to that.
He's calling them stupid. He's stupid. The fuck?
And you're going to assume, oh, I must have bad genetics. Because it's like, well, if this guy made this crazy amount of progress in that amount of time, I'm nowhere close to his level with anything. I mean, the muscle mass, the leanness, the strength, any of it. I mean, he's just blowing these people that follow him completely out of the water. And then they're going to be like, oh, well,
he may not even know what he gained there. Maybe he started eating a lot of carbs, which people do, usually bread, pasta, and all these weird, unusual fake foods, these artificial foods. And then they blow up looking like a herbivore. They ate a herbivore diet, they blow up like herbivores, get it? Have you ever seen a carnivore dog eat fucking human food? He blows up like a balloon, like a herbivore. He blows up, he looks like a herbivore. Then you put him back on his fucking meat diet, and then what happens? He goes back to normal. You want to know how to diet? It's really simple. Go on a carnivore diet. Everybody that has, their body returns to what? Homeostasis. Because anytime you do something artificial, right, you're out of homeostasis. Now, how do you return to homeostasis? Stop doing that artificial thing. Stop lifting weights. Stop eating like that. Stop trying to build these muscles, and your body will return to what? Homeostasis. Now, if you got fat eating carbs and you're massively big, how do you return to homeostasis? Eat your natural diet. Get it? It's called carnivore diet. And your body will return to homeostasis. Now, if a dog eats an artificial diet, how do you return him to homeostasis? Put him back on his natural diet. Get it? Meat. Get it, dude? It's really fucking simple.
It's wrong here, and maybe they go watch somebody else. You know, there's a lot of paths you can take there, but what happens a lot of the time, especially in the modern culture, a lot of these guys will jump on PEDs whenever they don't even have the basics down. But
oh my God, they don't have the basics down. They just jump on PEDs. This guy complains about everything. Just do your thing, dude.
Vast majority of people on PEDs, one, still barely look like they lift, and two, they start whenever they're still in the novice phase. They're in novice purgatory, and they think...
Oh my God, man. It's all artificial anyways. Everything you're doing, your muscles are artificial. I doubt that you're fucking damaging them repetitively week after week and trying to fucking eke out adaptations, you fucking nut.
That the juice is going to save them. I've tried to tell you guys, and people still want to deny this. No, bro, the average guy on TRT looks amazing. Like, you guys are out to freaking lunch, bro, as my grandma would say. You have no idea.
Yeah, people do on PEDs. They look good because it's cosmetic. It gives you a cosmetic look, dude. That's the whole point.
Idea what's going on out here. No matter how much you're convinced that you're right. Okay, well, maybe he's on just a little bit, bro. It's like, nah, man, for that amount of progress at that age, he's on way more than just a little bit, bro. That guy is on good amounts of stuff. But the ideal physique that a lot of you guys have in your heads, it is going to take you way longer to get there than you realize. And
let me explain something to you. Holy shit.
Some of you need to accept that your goal physique, at least naturally for you, it might be out of...
Let me explain something to all you, man. These are all unnatural things you're doing. If you're a hunter out in nature, you have a pole, I don't know what else you're carrying there. You're carrying a spear and you're out there hunting, right? You're not gonna be lifting weights. These are all unnatural things you're doing, okay? You understand me? It is natural to go out there and hunt. You got a pole, you throw it at some animal and you kill it, boom, that's it, and you eat it. Nobody in nature is doing any of these things because they're unnatural.
The cards. I can't say that for sure, but I get messages from guys saying like, hey man, how long is it going to take me to look like this dude off of Instagram or TikTok or whatever? And I'm like, bro, that's going to be an uphill battle, man. Even if it's something more so-called naturally attainable, if you want to look at someone like Steve Reeves, bro, that's going to take you years, man. Not just 1 or 2 years. That's probably...
No, it's not. It's not going to take you years. If you can afford to eat as much as you want, and you're rich, you have a lot of money, it's not going to take you long. And if you know the goal that you're shooting for, whether it's myofibular to sarcoplasmic, you're going to make it really fast. Trust me. He's lying to you. Money will build your body. If you don't have money, you can't build a body. Sorry.
Going to be closer to 7 to 10 years. And as we said, based on genetics, that may be quicker for you.
A lot of the reasons people take steroids is because they don't have money to eat. They don't eat. That's number one. They don't eat enough, and they don't have money, and they don't have the time or whatever. They just don't put in the effort, so they take steroids so it will absorb and retain this glycogen in the muscle, giving them these phony muscles.
It may even be longer. That also depends on the goal that you're striving for, depending on who you watch and who you idolize and what your so-called dream body is. But if your main reference point for your goal physique are the natural guys on Instagram and TikTok and the aesthetics crew, oh man, you have a lot to learn. I've told you guys a game I like to play is scroll through my Discover feed on Instagram and click on these physiques and just guess who claims natural and who doesn't. And I'm usually right, I'd say 80 to 90% of the time. Like, you see some dude, he's obviously a younger guy, obviously juicing pretty heavy. I go, this guy definitely claims Natty. Click on his page every single time. Like, the physiques that you see on these guys, the prominent influencers, man, they get these physiques in like 3 to 4 years of training. Bro, you're going to have to triple that time frame. So I would say until you've put in at least...
No, you don't. He's making it up because he doesn't know what he's doing, and he's basing it on his experience. And my experience says no. My natural experience says no, you could do it in a few months if you providing you have enough money. Now, his experience is the poor experience, the poor-minded, the shitty experience that he has because he doesn't have money. He doesn't have money to eat or build the body that he wants, so he's complaining about it. Why complain about being poor? Go out and get rich. Don't complain about being poor. Go out there and get rich like everybody else. Get it?
Least 5 consistent years with this. I'm talking everything buttoned up, the training, the eating, the recovery, or at least as good as possible, because I know life gets in the way sometimes, but as well as you can. Until you've been at that 5-year mark, man, I mean, you have a general gauge of what your aesthetic strong points are going to be at that point, but, you know, it's hard to make a legitimate gauge of how good your genetics can be.
Your genetic strong points? Genetics have nothing to do with building myofibular growth. It has to do with muscle damage. That's what creates it. That's what donates the nuclei, the progenitor, through muscle damage. Okay, so sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, again, has nothing to do with genetics, bro. I don't know what this guy's talking about, man. This guy's crazy. That has nothing to do with genetics, building these artificial muscles or building myofibular growth, real muscles.
Without a handful of years doing this. You've been in the gym for 5, even 10 years, man, and you're still a novice. You know, I mean, you can make an argument at that point if you've been training that long and you're probably not genetically gifted, just being realistic there. But even so, man, the common denominator is
You're genetically gifted with the genetics that you were given when you were born, your height and your body structure. Now, building muscle has nothing to do with being genetically gifted. You have to create it. What the fuck is he talking about? You were not genetically endowed with that. You're creating this phony look, the phony muscles or the real muscles or that forced production. It's all artificial anyways, okay? It's artificial, bro.
that nothing was going well. Okay, it was just hopscotch on the machines. Oh, I track protein, bro. What about carbs and fat? I just get enough of them. No idea. Form's not good. You don't take anything to a serious intensity point. Even if you claim you're training hard, you're not. You cannot outrun a bad diet. But you also cannot outsmart your muscles if your training sucks. So that brings us on to the final point here. The natural limit. The fitness
You can't outsmart your muscles if they what? Lift something? What the fuck is he mumbling about?
hustlers love to say things like the Natty limit doesn't exist, bro. Theoretically, I suppose.
No, I told you in the beginning, there's an MND size limit, myonuclear domain size limit. Fuck, man, what part does this guy not understand?
You can say it does not exist, but there's a huge asterisk right after that statement.
MND size limit does exist. Yes, it does. It does exist. Yes. Unless you have a fucking mutation. I don't know, a genetic mutation.
Because you're going to get to a point naturally to where the gains you're making, like we just talked about, if you've been doing this consistently everything well for 7, 8, 9, 10 years, the rate of gain you're going to be reaching after a number of years is going to be minuscule to the point that the changes per month are essentially not visible unless you're cutting. You're going to be at the point where adding even 5 pounds to your bench press may take you half the year. I know a lot of you guys love measuring too. Oh, what size are your biceps, bro? What size is your chest, bro?
Okay, that's based on an adaptation principle as well as forced production. How do you do that? You have to accumulate more of these androgen receptors. They widen, you get more of them, the androgens bind to them, giving you more forced production. And what about it, man? Man, this guy doesn't know anything. He doesn't even know how to describe these things. What the hell?
Bro, dude, if you think your measurements go slowly now as a novice or intermediate, wait till you've been training seriously for a number of years. At that point, the tape measure is going to be main gaining. Unless you want to just bloat max and gain a bunch of fat and water weight to artificially boost that up. But you have to realize it's not the same thing. So can you still make...
Yeah, that's what you're going to do. Boost the water weight and all that and the fat and whatever. Yeah, sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, yes.
natural gains after even a decade in the gym? Yes, you can. But realistically, unless you've been goofing off the entire time.
Why isn't he basing this, some of it's his experience, because he's a failure. He's talking from failure. But a lot of it, he's making it up. It's not based on real experience. He hasn't gone out to do sarcoplasmic training. He's never made videos on sarcoplasmic training. I have on my old channel. I did on my old channel. I did sarcoplasmic training. I've done myofibular training. I've done a whole bunch of stuff. I've done conditioning. I've done many things on my channel, previously and now even.
I mean, you have a very low threshold for how tangible those gains are going to be.
I even show how to eat in an anabolic growth state. I got fucking buffet videos, man. I show you to eat, tell you to eat for hours. What the hell?
how much they're really going to be noticed. Everybody's got their genetic point to where the body's like, listen, I'm not going to put on much more muscle. And that's something a lot of these hustlers say, right? Oh, I outsmarted my genetics. I had bad genetics. I turned them to good genetics with my special techniques and programs and X, Y, and Z. And it's like, you guys just need to shut up. Your genetic threshold is what it is, but it is going to take a long time to really manifest it. Now, the good news is that once you have nearly a decade of solid natural training under your belt, you don't really need to go much farther unless you want to compete seriously in bodybuilding, unless you just love getting as big as possible. You already look very big at that point too.
A decade, solid muscle, all this is bullshit. Listen, man, success is a very short window. For people to become successful at anything, it's very short. It doesn't take you 20 years or 35 years like Jason Blaha to be successful at being unsuccessful. You can be unsuccessful doing something for 35 years, but success is a very short window. Whether it's building myofibular growth or sarcoplasmic, it's a very short window. Like that guy in Greg Doucette's video, the guy, the I forget his name, Hermosi. That guy Hermosi and his wife, Hermosi, the rich guy, Hermosi. He says, I did a couple of weeks. I ate 800 grams of carbohydrates. And look how big I got. I gained 35 pounds. He said he gained 35 pounds. He didn't say he gained 35 pounds of muscle. He said he gained 35 pounds by eating carbohydrates and artificial diet. He gained artificial weight, 35 pounds. But you're going to say, well, it looks like muscle because it's blowing up from the inside out. Get it? You understand me? So you're all going to say, well, he gained muscle. He didn't gain any muscle. He gained sarcoplasmic muscles. You get it? It's phony. It's artificial muscle growth visually to make it look visual. It's an energy source. Does that mean he built muscles, real muscles? No. You understand me? But he was experimenting. He said it was an experiment. People are so dumb.
Anybody that's not completely body dysmorphic. And the last thing to consider here is age.
That's not based on any genetics.
I'm not one of these guys that is like a total doomer when it comes to age 30. You see guys talk about 30, and it's like, oh, your testosterone is going to just completely tank. You know, it's funny, too, all these guys that talk about, like, oh, I think I'm going to hop on TRT once I turn 30. It's like, dude, you know you just want to do a cycle. I'm not even 30 years old myself yet, so I can't really speak on this from experience. I think that's far too young, though, to assume that everything's going to go to shit. Now, once you get to the point where you are probably 40s, 50s, right, you probably naturally will start to lose a little bit of muscle. But even so, there's a lot of guys I've seen.
How would you know? You're not even there yet. He's already talking on things that he knows nothing about. He goes, when you reach 40s and 50s, he's a young guy. He doesn't even know what's going to happen in his 40s and his 50s. I could tell you because I've already been through my 40s and I'm in my late 50s. So I can tell you what's going to happen to you. Are you going to lose muscle? You're losing, science says you're losing 5% muscle as you're getting older with every decade. You're losing, I think, 5% or something. I don't know. I can't tell exactly, but whatever, something like that. Okay. And what about it? I don't know. My training is based on muscle regeneration. So it's based on EIMD training. I don't know what his training is based on. Bulk diet, lifting a heavy weight training. I don't know what else. Getting skinny training. So he never mentioned anything about EIMD training. He never does that. That is superior to all these other trainings. He does concentric training. He likes concentric, he likes getting skinny, and he likes bulking. I don't do any of that training. I don't know what kind of training that is. That's very phony.
In person and online that stay in very, very good shape into their 40s and 50s. I mean, if you can stay on top of your diet and the training, some of these guys hop on TRT, of course, but even so, man, actual TRT, like doctor doses, not all these only TRT guys that claim they only do a little bit because it's obvious they do something and they can't lie about it. That's their backdoor escape. Well, I just do TRT. They're blasting tons of stuff. A little bit of Dr. TRT, guys, is not going to dramatically transform your physique, despite what you've been told. Those of you older gentlemen in your 40s and 50s can leave your experiences down below in the comments. But most of you guys watching here are, 16 years old up to mid-20s. A lot of you guys, if you are a teenager especially, you've got nothing but green pastures ahead of you in terms of the years you can spend. I mean, you're going to be in the hormonal prime of your life for the foreseeable future for a long time. If you would like to see your current blood work and hormone levels and take the test from the comfort of home, you can use code REVIVAL20.
I just had no idea what this video is all about, man. It's just like a rant of complaining. There's no fixing the problem. There's no solution here at all. Just complaining. No solutions.
5 for 25% off at Let's Get Checked. Go to trylgc.com/revival to take advantage of that. Shameless plug, but based on the older guys I've talked to, things are definitely going to slow down. It's going to be harder to make progress.
What's going to slow down? If you have an injury, maybe you have some nerve damage or something, or some metabolic disease, but you can probably most likely reverse a lot of that. That type of stuff you can reverse. I'm not talking about severe injuries. Those may not, they may turn fibrotic, I can't tell you. But yeah, they can cripple you. But metabolic, you can go back on your natural diet, carnivore diet, they'll go away. But will it slow down? Will things slow down? Well, yeah, things start going down. You're deteriorating faster than you're aging because you're doing a lot of artificial things. Get it?
Recovery becomes that much more important, but you're not going to totally lose your gains.
Recovery becomes more important? No, muscle regeneration still takes a week to repair and remodel, whether you're 50, 40, 60, I don't know, 30 or 20. If you damage muscle fibers, the shortest period of time that they will repair and remodel is 1 week. And during that week, protein synthesis needs to exceed this breakdown. If it doesn't exceed that breakdown, if you are not in an anabolic growth state, then the muscles will become apoptotic. You understand me? You'll lose these muscle fibers. They'll go away. You'll lose them. You'll lose nuclei, and you'll lose muscle fibers. They'll die. They'll die and go away.
And also keep in mind too, maintaining muscle mass is very easy.
Yeah, maintaining muscle mass is very easy. It's based on carbohydrates. It's based on carbohydrates, glycogen, sarcoplasmic fluid. It's an energy source. That's what it is. But again, that cell can only get so big with this cytoplasm in it.
It is far.
So then it fills up around the myofibrils. It fills up the sarcoplasm. The sarcoplasmic fluid fills up between the muscle fibers.
Much harder than maintaining. So once you have a baseline of muscle built, even if it's a lot.
Yeah, myofibrils don't need maintaining, but the mass does. Yeah, you need to eat.
If you just go to the gym and do very low volume per week and train hard and eat enough protein and general food, your muscle's going to pretty much be there forever, bro. Now, once again, the older that you get, the more it's going.
No, they're not going to be there forever if you didn't build myofibrillar growth, like real growth. That mass that you built through sarcoplasmic, no, it's going to go away. It's going to go away, and you're not going to have nothing. Just like everybody out there that quits lifting or lifting heavy or anything like that, their heavy lifts go away and their phony muscles go away that they built, these fake muscles. Then they scratch their head and they can't figure out what happened.
To start dwindling away, and it's going to be harder to make progress. But you can see plenty of older dudes that still noticeably are buff. So I suppose that's another aspect of the natural limit too. How well do you hold on to your muscle mass with age, and at what age do you start sort of really seeing the side effects?
I don't lift. I had lift for over a decade in the beginning, and once I got once I reached the level I was comfortable with and I moved away, I could have got bigger, but I just stopped because I had to move away. I had other things to do. I could have got even bigger, but at the time I don't know, I didn't, and I was busy, and I didn't lift for an entire decade. I didn't lift at all for an entire decade. And even into my 40s, and then throughout my 30s, and then I reached my 40s, I still didn't really lift, and I was still big for the longest time. But then I had some nerve problems, some nerve damage, this and that. But I'm still big at 250. I may not be 285, but I'm 250. I definitely lost some muscle fibers throughout that decade because, you know, the drinking, partying, and the girls and all that, doing weird shit and whatever, that definitely started to diminish me at some point. I know I could feel it because it was pain. I felt pain. If I lost any muscle, I just felt pain in there because I wasn't a carbohydrate eater. I was always a meat eater. I ate fish and meat and shit where I was in the foreign country. So yeah, I didn't really, the whole sarcoplasmic thing really. Yeah, I can say that there's some was in there, but not a lot. But over time, you can lose some of this, you know, you can lose some of this muscle. I got comfortable later being between 245, 50. That was comfortable for me. Yeah. Because at some point, you definitely need to eat a lot more. You know what I mean? You need to eat a lot. Like these big people that come up with a lot of muscle fibers, big people, they got to eat a lot to maintain their weight or whatever it is they're doing there.
These things, that also has a lot to do with overall diet too, how that impacts your hormones and everything. Again, this is all related ultimately, guys. But in terms of the natural limit, I can't say for sure what it is because there's so many variables. Like everybody just wants this cut and dry answer. It's like you can.
The natural limit is when the muscles reach an MND size limit during hypertrophic process beyond where that satellite cell can donate any extra nuclei to that domain to support further muscle growth. There's that limit. Then now you need to figure out how to get over that limit. And science tells you how to get over it. It's based on muscle damage. It's based on the progenitor coming out of quiescence. It's got to be activated. How is it activated? Well, what activates the progenitor cell? Let's see. Unaccustomed exercise, unfamiliar forms, and untrained muscles do what? Activate the satellite cell. Get it? Then it comes out and it does what? Splits, divides, increases in number, donates its nuclei, these fucking other cells. It creates a bunch of cells. They fuse to create myotubes, and then they bind with the myotubes. And then the myotubes, the nuclei synthesize protein, so forth and so on, and then they get bigger. Get it? Yeah, a whole bunch of stuff, okay? During that process.
This.
But again, you want to fill up the muscles with sarcoplasmic hypertrophy? Go there to the gym and lift. It's an energy source. You're all endurance athletes lifting and getting good at lifting a heavy weight.
In this amount of time, by doing this, here you go, have fun. Life doesn't work that way, guys. There's going to be a lot of bumps in the road and ups and downs and swerves and curves and things to overcome. And maybe you get lucky at some points. Other times you have to really fight through it. You get lucky with...
See, I find that when people tell you what you want to hear to confirm your fake beliefs, they're very popular. That's the reason why this guy's very popular. He's popular because he confirms your fake beliefs. Get it?
With one muscle group, another muscle group you got shafted on, right? You have to take all these things into account and just keep going. That's really what it is. Regardless of your overall natural genetic limit, one thing is for sure, those that stay with the gym...
Again, your natural genetic whatever limit, it's bullshit. It's MND size limit. He's confirming your fake beliefs. You see that? Every time he confirms your fake beliefs, you all go, yeah, that's what it is. It's the genetic limit. The reason why you're not moving forward is because of the MND size limit and the repeated bout effect phenomenon, a whole bunch of things that are preventing you from growing muscles, and the fact that you're poor and you have no money, and you can't eat to be in an anabolic growth state. These are all issues. Okay.
Long term are going to go farther than those that don't. And if you get wrapped up in all of the body dysmorphic nonsense and all of this other stuff that is so baked in to the fitness industry at this point, and you get really discouraged, and you hop on a ton of gear, get a bunch of side effects, quit the gym, body image is terrible, you get injured from ego lifting, they say the candle that burns twice as bright only lasts half as long. And you see this repeatedly in bodybuilding and aesthetics culture. These guys come on the scene, they make crazy gains, they get really popular, they're on top of the world for a few years, and then, bam, it all disappears. Whether they have to come off the stuff for health side...
It disappeared because it's fake. Get it? It's fake. It was all fake to begin with. That's why it all disappeared. Me? Nothing disappeared. Nothing has disappeared.
It affects whether it's like the cases is and they die, or whether they just make so many bad overall decisions that they have to kind of distance themselves from lifting. That's how it goes, man. And if you've done all that and your genetics are genuinely that bad that you still barely look like you lift, well, I think it's time to find a different hobby. Go do something more productive, bro. This is a waste of time anyway. But this has been it for me, guys.
It is. I like how he says that. And don't go do something more productive. This is a waste of time. Yeah, faking it is a waste of time, definitely. It is, for sure.
Thank you for watching. Be sure to send this to a friend that needs to see it. Be sure to get your program down below. Stop wasting time in the gym. Get to your genetic limit.
See, get to your genetic limit. Stop wasting your time down below. But you've all reached your genetic limit. Get it? You call it newbie gain limit.
Faster. If you guys want to get in direct contact with me, the best way is on the Patreon.
He's going to get you to your genetic limit. And when does that usually happen? The first 2-3 weeks when you joined the gym, when you were untrained.
And you're going to get lifetime access to our Discord server there too. Hundreds of active members every single day. And use my codes down below to save money on some great products and services. And I will catch you guys next time.
I just love this guy's bullshit, man. Anyways, tell me what you think about that. Like, subscribe, support the channel down below. Have you reached your phony genetic limit, and how did you get over it? By bulking? Did you bulk to get over MND size limit? Even though the progenitor is beyond where it could donate any extra nuclei to that domain to support further muscle growth? Give me a break, bro. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, friends.